Carlos Nelson with Cascade Sports, and today we have what I like to say the home team. We have the head coach of the KCK, Mr. Brandon Burgette, and he's going to be introducing his new assistant coach. And I said, KCK is the home team. We got the home boy coming on. He's bringing up local talent, giving him opportunity uh, to extend his ability to get into the ranks of the coaching. And without further ado, welcome, Coach Burgette.
Carlos, how you doing? Everything's been good. You have a good summer.
Everything is good. Every day I wake up, Coach, is good for me. Uh,
Uh,
tell our audience, first of all, tell our audience a little bit about the last two seasons you had and talk about the improvement and what you want to see, and then go into introducing Six Pack.
yeah. So the last two seasons have been great. You know, we're coming off that COVID year where we had to face some trials. So we had a good recruiting class coming in, and that was my first 20-win season. And we had actually have some players that had to sit out last year that I have back from that 20-win season, which will be some guys that'll really be key for us this season. And then last year, we won 19 games. During the middle of the conference, we had our two best players get injured with ankle injuries, and we were in first place by 3 games, I think it was. And I felt very comfortable, going into the end of the season, feeling like we had a good chance to make a big time run. And then our two best players got hurt. I think they were like 70% of our scoring. And when you lose 70% of your scoring, you have to have some guys, step up. So those two guys tried to come back and play for us, during the conference tournament, and they did all they could, and it's hard beating a team, 3 times throughout the season. When you split, well, actually, sorry, not split. We beat them twice during the season, so it's hard to beat a team 3 times. But coming into this year, we're adding a new assistant. My old assistant is now at North Tonkawa. He got the head coaching job down in Oklahoma, so congrats to him. But coming into this season, I think we got a good recruiting class, and then we also got, a great, I guess, mentor for these guys, and a great basketball mind, and Coach Frank. He actually played for me when I was coaching at Indian Hills years ago, and then he, had a chance to play professionally, had a chance to play at the highest level here in our hometown at UMKC. Now he's back coaching right in our backyard with Mocan, and then now he's helping us, get prepared to make this run this year.
All right. Why don't you introduce him and tell
Well,
talk a little bit about some of the things that you think you talked about his professional, that try to get a little more specific, that you feel he's going to be bringing to your team.
I think he's great at relationships and just player personnel. He's done a great job this first half of the year of, get acclimated to the guys, knowing that, he didn't recruit any of these guys, but he's done a great job of just getting a feel for the team, obviously getting a pulse, building relationships with these guys to be able to be in the gym with them all the time and work them out and mold their game and help them get better. He's been a great year to for someone that they can talk to, and someone that will listen, and someone that will teach and guide and be hands-on. He's done a great job at that. Being that he's been here a short period of time, sometimes that's hard to do. You have to have a great personality to be able to do those things, because it's not easy when you're getting thrown 15 new guys, and they're trying to learn you and you're trying to learn them. So, getting acclimated and finding out the ins and out of each person, and how they tick, and how they react to things. Those things are pretty hard. But when you spend hours and hours and hours with these guys and you're in the gym and you're, able to talk to them, you're building that trust as you go out through, go on through the year. So that's just been big as we get into the season. So, I'm excited to have him. Glad he's on our side. And, obviously when you have played at the junior college level and then Division I level and overseas, you have a lot of, basketball mind within that and being able to teach these guys how to succeed. So they introduce him, Coach Frank Williams, Mr. Raytown.
Oh, I like that. Hey, Coach.
Yes.
Frank. Assistant coach, I should say. Hey, Frank. Welcome to the show. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself, and I want you going back from kindergarten. Who you played for, what positions you played, and who were some of your mentors coming up. Run it down.
Well, Carlos, first and foremost, thanks for having us on. It does mean a lot because you followed my journey along the way. So kindergarten, wow. Actually, I didn't even play basketball when I was that young. My first sports was actually soccer and baseball. Then I started to get a little too tall, too long, so the strike zone was a little bit too big. And then I started to get a little bit clumsy, playing the soccer game. So got into basketball around at like middle school. And with middle school, I played for the Kansas City Supersonics. I played for the Kansas City Eagles way back when. And then closer to getting to high school, I played for the Kansas City Keys. And then, like Coach B said, I went to Raytown High School. So I played there all 4 years on some good teams. I think my sophomore year was probably the best team, which it was me and Alden Smith and Dominic Morrison and Josh Gibbs and all those guys who went on to have great, careers in the basketball ranks and also in the NFL with Alden going to the NFL. But just being alongside those guys, it kind of helped mold me and having that mentality on the court, like that dog mentality and going out and playing basketball the right way. Cause I played for a good coach in Mark Scanlon. And in my senior year for Brandon Weiss, which they instilled in me, disciplined basketball and playing the right way, team basketball, things like that. So as I left Raytown High School, I graduated in 2010. I went on to play at Indian Hills up in Ottumwa, Iowa. And my first year at Indian Hills was with Brandon Burgette as an assistant. And we had some great teams up there, man. It was good because I was able to go play against other talented guys, which I wasn't really used to, which I think that's a big thing for all high school guys going into college is not knowing or not going into it prepared that you won't be the best guy on the team. You can still put in the work, you can still compete, you can still do things like that. But the reality of it is you may not be the best guy. And so on those teams, I would say I wasn't the best player, but I brought something to the team. I brought that personality, I brought that mentality, and I brought shooting, which was one of my staples in my career. So with me shooting the ball and being on the floor with those guys, we were able to win, I think 60, 64, 65 games in my 2 years at Indian Hills with only 4 or 5 losses. So successful 2 years at junior college. And then I went on to play at UMKC here in my hometown for Kareem Richardson. He had left University of Louisville at the time, and they had just won a national championship. So it was a lot of buzz coming back to Kansas City. We didn't play so well my 2 years there, but it was still great for my family and friends to see me, in our backyard playing Division I basketball. So that was pretty big for all of us as a whole.
Well, you give Kareem is one of my guys. Shout out to Kareem. He's down there at North Carolina State now with the Wolf Packs. We just interviewed him about a month and a half ago. So what do you see you bringing to KCK?
I think just to piggyback what B said was I have the I wouldn't say the expertise because it's my first year, but I do take pride in the skill development and the building relationships and just making the guys go, finding out, what motivates certain guys and finding out, who can bring what to the table. Obviously, doing the personnel and the scouting and recruiting, things like that, that's just a part of the game. But I think for this team, me personally, is just making sure these guys getting up and they really realize the opportunity that they have here. Because it's a great opportunity because not all guys get to leave high school to play college basketball. So making sure that the guys are grateful for the opportunity, make sure that they're working hard every day, and playing for one another. And obviously, with me being an assistant, it's kind of like more hands-on with the guys, talking to them off the floor, because the head coach is just gonna, he may get on you and demand so many things out of you, and I'll do the same too. But it's also my job to, go pull a guy aside when he's not having the best day, or when he does think the coach is getting on to him in a personal way, but it's really not. Just to let him know that it's really not how the coach says it. It's what he's trying to say to you. So just being that extra ear. And I'm a player coach as well, and I'm younger, so I'm not too far removed from the game. So just being a relatable guy, for the guys to be able to come to and get in the gym with, ask questions, bounce ideas off me, and things like that. So I'm here for pretty much everything, but I'm definitely going to get the most out of the guys.
That's what you touched on it. I wanted to ask you, do you actually participate in some of the practices? You still young enough and nimble enough that you still might show them, I'll take you to the hoop, bro.
Yeah. It's been a few times on like off days, but we'll play 1-on-1s and 3-on-3s, and I'll get after them, just to let them know, because I still got that itch sometimes, even though I'm happily retired, but I still can go, and that's another thing too. Like being a coach is letting them know that basketball is beautiful and it's easy. You don't have to do everything so hard just to go get a bucket. Like, I can go get a bucket on these guys, and I haven't played in 3 weeks. But the game of basketball is so easy. So I think me showing them the ability to be able to do that, they'll listen to me more when I say certain things. Passing here, cut here, the footwork here, getting in the gym at these times, things like that. Because I don't have to do it anymore, but I can definitely be that voice, and hopefully they can be the ear to listen to it and take something out of it.
All right. With Cascade Sports being home of the student athlete, and Coach talked about how you bridge that gap between Coach and his players. How important, or do you talk to them, because you've gone through the cycle, about how important it is for them to get their books to go to that next level also?
Yeah, I'm on the guys a lot about that. Just because I was in a situation coming out of high school where I didn't have the best grades, and I was able to turn it around when I got to college. But like you said, the student athlete, that's the key word. You're not an athletic student, you're a student athlete. So you have to, when you come to the junior college ranks or any college you go to, school always comes first. And we had one thing where we want to get a banner up in the gym for having an all academic team. As a whole, not just 2 or 3 guys with 3.0. We want everyone to have over a 3.0, because that shows a lot about our program and what me and Coach B are instilling on the guys as far as the classroom. Whether it's being there on time, sitting in the front row, getting with each other to do homework and go to study hall, things like that. It's important, because I was able to do it too. So even though it's a lot of time in the day that you want to get better at your craft and at basketball, you can spend just as much time in the classroom or in the library studying the books as well.
Hey, Frank, what advice would you give to young ballers, freshmen on up? I was talking to the AD earlier of Raytown South, and about the athletes there. What would you say to a young athlete they need to, because it's changed so much since you have went through those ranks, what it takes now to be successful?
I would say be a sponge, because you're coming into a whole new world where you may think you know what's going on, or you have it all figured out, but you don't. And that's why we try to mold and build leaders, because each year there's going to be a younger guy coming in, and we have to reteach something. So if you're a sponge and you're not just listening to just the coaches, and you listen to your teammates as well, and you're being a good teammate, I would say that's the number one thing because it's hard. It's hard to do. It's a new lifestyle. You're not in the house with your parents anymore. You're not getting home cooked meals. So there's a lot of changes that you're gonna go through, and not just on the floor. You're gonna go through changes as a man. Um, so if you're a sponge, be in the right place at the right times, never in the wrong place at the wrong times, and just live in the moment. Because these 4 years can go by quick.
One last question before I get, because see, really, I got more important people to talk to than you, your head coach, for instance. But one thing I'd like for you to, you touched on just briefly a few minutes ago, being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Talk a little bit about that with these high school and in the JC ranks.
I mean, we've all seen the stories that, guys, they mess up opportunities all the time, for being at the wrong place at the wrong time. And it's an unfortunate situation, but it can be prevented. And I feel like it's also about, who you're around. And obviously on the team, and it's supposed to be a brotherhood, some guys go out and they do things outside of the locker room and outside of their teammates. But it's important to know exactly where you should be and where you shouldn't be. And if you can gauge those type of things, and it doesn't even have to be about how you were raised or what areas and environments you're from. It's just about being a incoherent human being. You know when something isn't right, and if you have to force something, or if you're somewhere where you shouldn't be, it just doesn't feel right, look right. It's just not right as a whole. Then you can get yourself in situations that may jeopardize your career.
All right. Hey, Frank, I'm wishing you the best. And as I said, got more important people to talk to than you, bro. Hey, Coach.
Yes.
Talk to me about. I'm old school Johnny Carson and Kreskin. Give me your crystal ball. Give me a win-loss ratio at the beginning of the season. What we're gonna be looking like at the end of the season.
I think we got a great chance of going to the national tournament this year. I think we have some depth, which is one thing that I was kind of worried about, but I think we have a lot of pieces that can help us in multiple ways. We have some youth, we have some athleticism, we have some experience, and I think we can play fast and we really guard. I think those are the key things that we haven't really done well in the past. I think we've been more offensive oriented, but I think we can guard better this year. And like I said, key thing is depth. Last year I don't think we had much depth when you talk about multiple guys being able to contribute in multiple ways. When we had two guys go down last year, like I said, it was 70% of our scoring. I think this team has a great chance to have multiple guys step up every night and different scores every night. And I think we have multiple guys.
Hey, Coach, listen, where the time meets the road, can you get me 25 wins, man?
You can't really speak on wins and losses. I think you just got to be ready to win the day every day. Because with me, I schedule a gauntlet.
All right.
When you're a Division II and you got some Division I games and you got some high level games, our job is obviously to win. But I don't want to toot my own horn and
hey man, you had, I think, what's sticking in my mind, you was like, we had 20, I think 22, 21. I'm like, well, let's just go ahead and get 25 wins. We got the 6-pack working with you. Hey.
We can get 20 wins. We can get 20 wins. I think we get 20 plus.
We get 20?
We can get 20 plus.
All right. Well, you on camera saying 20 plus. All right. That's what's up. Hey, Coach, let's go back before we close out. How important is it for you to have that good administration behind you, just like 6-pack? How important it is for you to have a good coach that you can relate to and can relate to you? How important is it to have that administration behind you and the student body, Coach?
Well, it's great you talk about that, because I think it's very, very important. You know, it's important for our student athletes to succeed. It's important for people, you know, on the higher ups to be able to help our student athletes. One of the things that we're going through right now is, you know, we had a situation with our gym where our home games are not at home. So we're playing our home games this year at 3 different locations. So, you know, that takes a toll on just, I would say, wins and losses of being comfortable every night. You know, when you're at home, you feel comfortable having your student body. You feel comfortable of playing your own gym, you know. So we have to play every game on the road. So, you know, that plays a factor in us being able to be successful just a little bit, because every night, you know, one night we're at IV, one night we're at Rockhurst, one night we're at Metro, you know, so that's our home site. So when you don't get to practice, you don't get to prep, you don't get to do these things.
What's wrong with your gym?
So we're dealing with just floor issues. We got to get a new floor. So it's just one of those things where we got to persevere through and, you know,
do you have a mental do you have a sports psychologist that works with your team by any chance?
We have one on campus, but we don't have one personally for, you know, our group.
Because you know what you sound like to a degree? Holding prep.
Yeah. That's it's very similar. Very similar.
You gotta be mentally tough. Your team. That's why I was talking.
Right.
You know, almost play with a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, no.
Go in the gym.
And I remind them that every day. You know, we have to take what's given and we have to do our best, improve. You know, and go about it differently than everyone else. You know, so it's just one of those things we have to fight through. You know, and there's nothing that, you know, we can't get through. We just got to do it together.
All right. Well, it was a pleasure having both of y'all on the show. Do you have any closing words for your audience, Coach?
Just want everybody to come out this year, support. You know, I know we've talked about this every single year, but we'll love to see, you know, more fans and more hometown people support us. And, you know, and obviously with our home games being at a central location, you know, downtown at Hy-Vee, you know, right in the middle of the city, I think more people can obviously get over to see us play, being that it's a little bit closer than being on the KCK side of things. You know, all of our games will be played in Missouri this year, home games. So that's a bonus to a lot of people that obviously are in the city, can be able to get a chance to see us play this year. So hope to see everybody there.
On Cascade Sports, on our other interviews, to support your team and your coaching staff. As we always say in closing, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. But for all you chumps out there, Cascade Sports, we go hard in the paint. And for you guys that's under that hoop like 6-pack, don't come up under that. Yeah, don't come up under there, because we play rough and ready. You know you can't handle that. I'm giving you a direct challenge. You say you take them to the hoop. Mr. Nelson 72. Next time I see you, I want to play a game of horse. And I'm going to get you. All right. It was a plum-pleasing pleasure having y'all on the show. And, hey, Coach, I'm really rooting for the home team, because I know you can do it. And now that you got your players back.
This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.